This is Daily. I am your host. Today read, I'm going to paraphrase some quotes. And at the end, I'll tell you when the quote was made, or the quotes were made, and who said them. But first, I stumbled across this from a website that I have to admit I'm a fan of. It is The Marginalian, Marginalian, themarginalian.org. It's Maria Popova, who is prolific. She's got 1,658 pages of articles. I went and looked at the very first one, and based on the URL, she started this in August of 2007, which is pretty cool. Anyway, wanted to give a shout out to that. I'm kind of a fan of the simplicity of the site. I'm also a fan of the privacy policy, which is the too long didn't read is you're safe. There's no nefarious third parties lurking on my watch or shredding crumbs of the cookies the rest of the internet uses, which is very neat. Looks like it's fully donation based. No AI. Very cool. Anyway, wanted to mention that. Now, let's read some quotes. I'm going to, again, there's going to be one, maybe two instances when a year is mentioned, and I'm not going to say that until we are finished, just because that kind of defeats the purpose, or I don't know, whatever. It was always my hope in writing novels and stories which ask the question, what is reality? To someday get an answer. This was the hope of most of my readers too. Years passed. I wrote over 30 novels and over 100 stories, and still I could not figure out what was real. One day, a girl college student in Canada asked me to define reality for her for a paper she was writing for her philosophy class. She wanted a one-sentence answer. Thought about it and finally said, reality is that which, when you stop believing in it, doesn't go away. That's all I could come up with. Since then, I haven't been able to define reality any more lucidly. But the problem is a real one, not a mere intellectual game. Because today we live in a society in which spurious realities are manufactured by the media, by governments, by big corporations, by religious groups, political groups. So I ask in my writing, what is real? Because unceasingly we are bombarded with pseudo-realities manufactured by very sophisticated people using very sophisticated electronic mechanisms. I do not distrust their motives. I distrust their power. They have a lot of it, and it is an astonishing power. That of creating whole universes of the mind. I don't know. I do the same thing. It's my job to create universes as the basis of one novel after another, and I have to build them in such a way that they do not fall apart 2 days later. As soon as you begin to ask what is ultimately real, you right away begin talk to nonsense. Zeno proved that motion was impossible. Actually, he only imagined that he had proved this. What he lacked was what technically is called the theory of limits. David Hume, the greatest skeptic of them all, once remarked that after a gathering of skeptics met to proclaim the veracity of skepticism as a philosophy, all the members of the gathering nonetheless left by the door rather than the window. I see Hume's point. It was all just talk. The solemn philosophers weren't taking what they said seriously. But I consider that the matter of defining what is real. That is a serious topic, even a vital topic. And in there somewhere is the other topic, the definition of the authentic human. Because the bombardment of pseudo-realities begins to produce inauthentic humans very quickly, spurious humans, as fake as the data pressing at them from all sides. My two topics are really one topic. They unite at this point. Fake realities will create fake humans. Or fake humans will generate fake realities and then sell them to other humans, turning them, eventually, into forgeries of themselves. So we wind up with fake humans inventing fake realities and then peddling them to other fake humans. just a very large version of Disneyland. The basic tool for the manipulation of reality is the manipulation of words. If you can control the meaning of words, you can control the people who must use the words. The authentic human being is one of us who instinctively knows what he should not do, and, in addition, he will balk at doing it. He will refuse to do it, even if this brings down dread consequences to him and to those whom he loves. This, to me, is the ultimately heroic trait of ordinary people. They say no to the tyrant, and they calmly take the consequences of this resistance. Their deeds may be small and almost always unnoticed, unmarked by history. Their names are not remembered, nor did these authentic humans expect their names to be remembered. I see their authenticity in an odd way, not in their willingness to perform great heroic deeds, but in their quiet refusals. In essence, they cannot be compelled to be what they are not. So that was pretty cool. This was a quote by Philip K. Dick, and it was in a 1995 anthology, The Shifting Realities of Philip K. Dick. And the year that he had mentioned, when that college student asked him the question, he answered, "Reality is that which, when you stop believing in it, doesn't go away." That was asked in 1972. So that selection of quotes that I read was all from before 1995. Something about time is a flat circle, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. It's kind of interesting. I couldn't really find anything in that wouldn't qualify today. It holds up. And breathe. 1978. Those quotes were from a speech called How to Build a Universe That Doesn't Fall Apart 2 days later in 1978. Put words to your gratitude and spread those words. Literally say them out loud to somebody. Type them out loud. That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?